know it's been a long time since you've seen my face. So hey, hi, how are you? Hi everybody. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to put on some makeup and come on screen. Okay, the point is today I'm making a much requested video, a video that's been requested for quite some time, and something that really was a big challenge because I was like thinking about it in my head for a very long time. So anyway, this is breaking down the reading interpretation process. So this is I don't know if you guys noticed, this is my setup here. This is my little thingy with my phone and everything, because I'm going to be doing a reading, of course, and that will be recorded too. And so I'm using my cell phone. This is me recording on my computer camera, and then I'm going to put it all together in ScreenFlow. So I'm going to show off my ScreenFlow skills. Anyway, point is, this is going to be an interesting thing because what I'm going to talk about is basically I'm going to be drilling down the process to its very basic core things, is how I see it. And I have talked upon or touched upon some of the topics in more detail in different videos. So, little bits of it. So I will put the links in the corner somewhere up there, so you can click on those links and go watch those videos if you want to, want a more detailed sort of revision into it. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking bits of this, bits of that, put it all together, and although. And I know this, but I'm saying this, there are two disclaimers that I want to make. Disclaimer number one is that although it may seem like this is a very long, drawn out, complicated process, it is not. In real life, it just takes a split second for me to do that. And it will happen for you as well. Don't get all worried or tensed up. Oh my God, how long will it? It's not like that. It's just me breaking it down into its component parts, and that's why it looks big, but actually it's really tiny, like how, yeah. And the second disclaimer is, this is my method, right? This is a method I use. This is a process that internally happens with me. You can use that, and I will encourage you, I guess, to use that as a stepping stone to finding and discovering your own process, because there will be slight changes. You'll hear something from some other tarot reader and say, oh, that is good, I like that, or something will automatically happen with you when you start doing your readings. The point is, this is a breakdown of a process that I use, and you can use it too. You can totally use it. I'm not saying don't use it. What I'm saying is that if at a point, there comes a point in time, and I'm sure it will, where you want to tweak it, where you want to personalize it or customize it, or whatever the word is of the day. If you want to basically give it a flavor that is very uniquely you, go right ahead and do that, because that's what tarot is all about. Your intuition is going to talk to you in your language, and so you can use this like a stepping stone to get to where you want. All right. Okay, so after all the disclaimers and whatnot is done, let's get right down to it. Just a little bit of theory before we kind of start, getting to the readings, because I think practical demonstration will be more fun and more apt, but this theory is important. What happens when we do a tarot card reading? There is a video I think I have made about that. I will put a link there. Point is, in our subconscious mind, right? It is the repository of pretty much everything. The subconscious mind contains your memories, right? And these memories, if you want to imagine that, or if you want to visualize that, or if it makes it simpler, you can imagine like as if your memories were video files, but with all kinds of sensory data attached to it. So it's not just, you're not just gonna remember an event or a memory as, oh, like this is what happened, but you'll have all the other sensory data attached with it. So if there were any specific smells that went with it, or tastes that went with it, or feelings, touch and all that, emotions that went with it, everything kind of will get back together as one thing. So for example, if you were to remember your first birthday or your third birthday, or whichever, like the most the earliest birthday party or whatever that you had, for instance, or anything like that, you would remember how the cake tasted, or how it felt when you had all these balloons in the sky, or how it felt when someone took your present from you and you felt like crying, and stuff like that. It's everything, all the emotions, all the feelings, and you will remember it like flashbacking through a movie. And it's not just the visuals and the audio, but there will be feelings, emotions, and other sensory data, right? So that's kind of what I'm getting at. That is how the information is stored in your subconscious mind. So you have everything jumbled up together. You have thoughts, feelings, emotions, sensory data, words, images, events, and everything packed as memories in your subconscious mind. Now, what happens is your tarot cards have images which will basically spark one of those memories. All right. And of course, you have your story, and you have, and they will spark storytelling, and they will also spark through your intuitions and dreams. Your tarot cards are one of the tools, right? Just like your intuitions, just like sometimes you have these prophetic dreams, or sometimes you have like your cards can spark a storytelling session, or you can spontaneously start talking or telling a story. So all of that, it comes from the subconscious, and you're basically taking the information that's been stored there. So that's the language that your subconscious is going to use to convey that to you through various ways and means. Now, let me put up the other photo, and this is the very technical breakdown of what happens. As you can see, what you will see here, your conscious mind contains the knowledge, and this is the knowledge that you gain by studying. So you have your card meanings, your meanings of the symbols, the colors, psychology, mythology, astrology, numerology, this, that, everything, the whole thing is your knowledge that you're consciously adding to your mind, to your brain, to yourself. And this is the stuff that, you, even this video, for instance, this is going to go in your conscious mind, in the knowledge base of your conscious mind. Now that is a part also of your subconscious, where everything that we know from before, your life events, your memories, your sensory data, your feelings, emotions, all of that, that is also stored in your subconscious mind. So the conscious mind brings in that knowledge angle. The subconscious mind, through your intuition, brings in that information, right? And all of that is now read within the bigger, you can say, the third circle, the one outside, within the question and the spread position, in that context, right? So it's going to be read in that context. But that's just the theory of it. So, but theory is theory. So let's practically see how that works. So this is my new table, and this table has a little drawer thing underneath it. Okay, where I can have a pull-out drawer, and I can do tiny little quick readings here. So let me just switch this on. All right, so I'm gonna be switching over to my camera image now. So you're gonna probably just see my hands now, okay? All right. Okay, so I'm just, getting my cards together. I've basically mixed them up, and I'm gonna just quickly shuffle them. All right, so since we're going to be basically learning through practice a totally Eight of Pentacles experience, tarotically speaking, let's pick a question. Let's pick a question that, I don't know, what question should we take? This is the hardest part when when teaching, coming up with questions. So since we are going to be looking at these whole this whole reading within the framework of questions, let's pick a question that we can ask the cards. And since the theme of this month is connections, let's pick a question related to that, because hey, why not? So the basic question here is, what will be the best course of action for me to create and enhance the connections that I have, so create new connections and enhance the existing connections that I have made via social media, YouTube, Instagram, all the friends, and Facebook, and all these social media platforms, the people that I have met and connected with. How do I create new connections and enhance the existing connections that I have on there, right? I mean, that's a very basic question. So let me just, okay. I'm just making a tiny little fan here. All right, so now I'm just going to pull one card for each. So how do I create new connections? How do I enhance my existing connections? All right, see this one card. Now let's analyze this, because see, okay, let me put this one aside for a bit. This is how do I create new connections on social media, like-minded connections, all of that. So this is your question. How do I make a certain thing happen? How do I make these create new connections on social media? All right. And so that is the question. So the spread position here is just answer how, right? So now turning it over, I'm going to pay attention to the first thought, feeling, sensation, memory, whatever comes to my mind as soon as I see the image, right? I'm going to be paying attention to that, because that is where it kind of all culminates, and that's where my subconscious is throwing it up to me. This is the answer, this is the intuition, this is the guidance. All right, I'm going to be, and that's where all the knowledge, because I'm first going to probably register the name of the card and whether it's upright or reverse, and then everything else related to it will flood in. But right at the beginning, as soon as I see the image, something will pop into my head, and that is what my focus will be. So this is where all your practice comes into play. This is where you have to learn to listen to your inner voice, and it's a very quiet voice. So this is where your practice, this is what you practice. Okay, that's why there is always a big focus on creating a calm space, a meditative space. Be centered, be focused, be this, be that. Why? Because you have to listen to the voice of your intuition, and that is a very, very quiet voice. All right, so let's turn this over. How do I form new connections? That's the question. Remember that on social media. And see this Three of Swords reversed. Help heal broken hearts. That is what came to me. All right, you see where I'm going with this? The first thing I saw is the heart with all these three swords here, and that's a broken heart. It's reversed, so it's healing, and that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to help this process of healing hearts that are broken. It's a very simple thing. You don't need to go more deep into it unless you want to. You can. There's a lot more you can explore here. You can take that theme and really go deep with this. But just to keep it very simple, very basic, these, if I want to form new connections on the internet, uh, what I need to do, or via social media, is I need to talk more about how to heal broken hearts. Again, if you look at this picture, it's also about betrayal and the healing that comes from that. Having an experience related to being betrayed and then coming out of that, how to talk about or how to deal with, a stalemate situation where thought processes, because these are swords now, they crisscross, and they there's a third one, and so it's basically creating a stalemate or an impasse situation. So how do you deal with thought processes that basically bring you in a stuck position and lead you to into a stuck position? So how do you come out of that? Because again, this is a reverse, right? I asked for a guidance, and this is the guidance that came. So long and short of everything is, when I asked my cards, so what happened is, as I said, I listened to that inner voice the moment I looked at the image. But that inner voice came from where? It was a combination of the knowledge I've had. So it's all the meanings that I've studied. So don't stop studying, all right? Don't just say, okay, I read this one book, that's enough. No, read as much as you can. Lay your hands on any tarot book and read through it, all right? Because every different tarot reader has a different take on a card, even a slight little twist here and there, and that is more than enough. It just gets added to your knowledge base and you don't know where it pops up. Secondly, the card story technique, which I talk about all the time. What is the story here? The image is telling you so many different things. If you've played with the card, you will have that story already kind of ready. That's part of your knowledge base. Then you may have gone through, right, such experiences in your life, heartbreak, a betrayal, and then healing from it, coming out of it. So the memory, that whole situation, you might just remember something. So you might remember, say, a heartbreak, or you might remember a betrayal. So when you're doing this very specifically for a reading, what memory jumps out at you, or what memory is struck in your, what is the thing that is foremost in your mind? What memory comes up foremost in your mind when you look at this card? That is the emotion to go for, right? Or you may look at this, or you may feel like something in the pit of your stomach, or your heart will beat a little bit faster, or you'll feel, oh no. Pay attention to your body, to your emotions, to your feelings, right? Every image will evoke something somewhere. I'm not saying that everything will happen, but one of the things, or two of the things, or a couple more, combination of things will definitely happen. So pay attention to first the voice. So it's all a culmination really of all the things that you've studied and learned and experienced in your life. All right, so that is what makes tarot reading very unique, because it is unique. Everybody's experiences are unique, right? So that's what makes it unique. So now, the first question we asked, that coming back to this, is how do I connect, or how do I create more connections, new connections? Basically, the card said, talk to people about healing their broken hearts, and dealing with betrayal and stuck positions, or stuck thought processes. So that's very intriguing that this card comes up like that, for to create new connections. But how do I, now here's the next one that I asked, how do I enhance the existing connections, right? So let's flip this over. Ta-da! And here we have Page of Cups. Okay, so the first thing that came in my memory is reach out. Basically, just reach out in love, reach out in affection, reach out through my heart. So again, um, Page of Cups, right? This is a very soft person. This is a very emotional person. This is a very emotive person. And the way he's holding the cup, actually, I'm feeling like, okay, he's reaching out. He's saying, hey, hi, how are you? And he's reaching out, and there's that fish there. So he's basically reaching out with something, with love, with affection. Actually, that fish symbolism stands for something else, right? But right now, for me, it basically symbolized love, right? Because he is a very loving person, the Page of Cups. So for me to keep my connections going with the people that I've already connected with, is reach out, love them, reach out in love, cherish them. That is the thing. Now, this is all very sweet, but let's drill down further into it. All right, because hey, why not? That's what this whole video is all about. Hang on. So we're going to look at, if we see this here, we're going to look at further aspects of each card. Okay, let's look at one at a time. This card, the Three of Swords, right, and reversed. We see, of course, the background is gray. There are clouds. Let me make it upright so you can see the image more clearly. There's a gray background, and there's clouds, there's rain, there's a heart, and three swords that pierce through that heart. Clearly, you don't need any explanation of this image. Anybody who looks at this image goes, oh my God, that must hurt. That's exactly what this card is all about, right? This image is very evocative, evocative, whatever. Point is, swords are all about air. Air is all about thoughts, intellects, and logic, right? And that's why I come to that stalemate interpretation, because it's like one point here and a second point crosses it, but then the third point comes and says, oops, and basically now they're all stuck. This is, of course, a betrayal, because you can't, one heart and three swords, so there is that betrayal there. And of course, it's a heartbreaking situation. Look at this. It's like the clouds are crying for you. It's like a movie scene, right? When the sad situation happens and the hero or the heroine is walking through on the road, and suddenly it starts to rain, and oh my God, it brings up all those feelings, right? But what happens in the reverse is, now these, you can imagine, these swords are slowly going to come out. They're going to fall out, and the heart is going to heal again. It's going to become whole again. So these are the things you bring together, right? You look at the imagery, you look at the colors, you look at the elements. This is all air here, right? Air is what? Thoughts, logic, right? So that's how it works. And this one is a court card. So you see the person, right? You look. I have written a very lovely series of articles about understanding the court cards. I will put a link to that in the description box below the video. So if you're interested, you can just go read through the entire series. It's really great. I mean, it's interesting that I shared a post from that series today on my social media, but it's interesting just because if you want to really dive deep, there are a bunch of books also which I can recommend, and I'll put a link to those books, Amazon links to the books also in the description box. But the Page of Cups, again, the personality is Page, someone starting out on a journey, but then he is all about cups, right? So it's all the water, it's the feelings, it's emotions. And if you look closely, you will see all these lotus flowers on his dress. So that's the spiritual connection, or it's more like a emotional connection. So this guy is genuinely emotional, and he is fresh. He's new. He doesn't, his you can say, or naive even, or innocent, because his emotions, his feelings are not colored by the ravages of life. Right? So that's where I said genuine emotional connection, or reaching out to the existing, right? Bringing it to the context of the question. Okay, maybe we can do one more example. Okay, let's continue this theme of connections, right? So now we know that, okay, well, how I can connect and make new connections, how I can connect with the existing connections. I want to know if there are going to be, and there probably will be, a bunch of hurdles in the process, so or something that will block this situation. So for this one, right, new connections, what could be the hurdles or blockages in my path? And for the existing ones, what could be the hurdles or blockages in my path? All right. So hurdles. Now this one is the hurdle. So again, flipping it over, King of Pentacles, right? So again, routine. This is the first thing that jumped in my head when I looked at the King of Pentacles, is he is a lover of routine, and that was the word I said, routine, and stasis. That was actually the word also, routine and stasis. So while forming new connections, I shouldn't make them stale or cold or routine. There has to be something new in that process. So every time I meet someone, it's got to have a unique angle or a unique, or I don't know, every connection that I make online has to be unique. If they become stuck or in a routine or static or stasis or whatever situation, then it will just become it won't be a great connection, or the connection will just be stale. It won't go anywhere. Now again, this is because this is coming from the knowledge angle, right? I have spent a lot of time playing with the cards and the court cards, and I know the personality of each court card, and I know the King of Pentacles is all about his routines. And so the routines can be boring too, hence that's where the routine and the static or boring thing comes into play. All right, that's where the meaning came from. That's it. So again, for the existing connections, what will be the hurdle that I'm looking at? And I see 9 of Wands, right? Again, the first thing that comes into mind, that or rather came into my mind, is me being super ultra careful, having a barrier there, and being, I'm not genuinely open. See this one, he's innocently reaching out and connecting with whoever he meets. And this person, he's put up this barrier, this wall, because maybe he got hurt and stuff, and so now he doesn't want to get hurt again. So now he's just being very formal, very careful, and he's put up that defensive wall, and that defensiveness becomes a hurdle. It's very simple. Don't make it too complicated. Readings for whatever aren't very complicated. Just look at the image. What is the story? Put that in the context and go with it. Don't complicate it. Don't, as I said, the meaning of the color, the meaning of the element, the this, that, and the other, everything is part of the knowledge thing, and that you already have. So what you need to pay attention to is how you react, what your mind comes up with, what your head or heart comes up with. What is the first thing that pops in your head when you look at the card? That is your answer, always, always, always. And believe me, all the theory in the world, I can teach it to you, but it all basically comes down to this one moment where it all just like one split second where answers come. Okay. All right. So again, now we have how to reach out for new and existing connections, what the hurdles will be. Now, of course, I need to know how to overcome those hurdles. So for the new connections and for the old connections, how to overcome these hurdles. King of Swords reversed. Wow. See, the hurdle was the King of Pentacles. The reverse hurdle is, how to overcome it is King of Swords reversed. Again, very, very swords and air. not to be too harsh, right? To be a little bit relaxed is the approach, but to use intellect does come into play because of the swords, right? The King of Swords actually is someone who is very harsh, very intellectual, very logical, and very much like set. And he says, my way or the highway. That's his personality, right? But in the reverse, he is a little relaxed. He's a little at ease, but the intellectual aspect doesn't completely go away. So he does use his intellect. You have to use your intellect, but you have to not use it in a set or firm, typical way. So every connection is not similar, but every connection should have an intellectual angle to it. But again, I cannot enforce my thoughts on them. I have to basically just put some thoughts out there and let them pick and choose what resonates with them. That's kind of how this works. And and then my how do I overcome my hurdle of being defensive with my existing connections? Ooh, look, 9 of Cups. See how it is interesting. 2 kings here, 2 9s here. My cards are not joking today. All right. So basically, my cards are saying just be content, be happy, be self contained. All right. No point being defensive. Be self contained, be confident in who and what you are when you reach out to your existing connections. Basically, that is the answer, because 9 of Cups, see, here's the thing, here's the keyword. 9 of Cups is the card of contentment, right? And so if I reach out to them from a space of contentment, and rather than a space of being defensive, then that will be a very genuine. And see how it lovely, in a lovely way. It's again the same element. We have cups and cups, and see how you have swords and swords. It's very, very interesting. Again, my cards are not joking today. So see how it all kind of falls into place very beautifully. See, again, now when we see this whole spread as a big picture, now this is something, right? Once we have, let's say, once we've done our spread, once we've kind of gotten the answer, so to speak, that we are looking for, it is time to look at the big picture. And this right here is this is the big picture. You're looking at the whole spread as a whole, right? So when we're forming, as you see, there's a prevalence here of swords, and swords again is thoughts and intellectual connection and logic and stuff like that, right? Ideas. And now in this side of the spread, you see there's a prevalence of cups, which is all about feelings and emotions and intuition and creativity. So now if this part was talking about the forming of new connections, that has to be an intellectual process. This is something that happens from the head, correct? Whereas the existing connections that are, I'm going to be reaching out and saying, hey, now how you doing, that kind of thing, that has to happen from the heart, because cups are all about feelings and emotions and the heart. So this is very interesting. The hurdles here, right, for the new connection, the hurdle becomes, again, very pentacles, King of Pentacles. So it's all about practical matters, very routine, regular matters, everyday things. Those become the hurdles, right? So everyday life, or the routine of everyday life, could become a hurdle in this process. See how it all shapes up. But over here, the hurdle is all about, wands. And the wands is what? It's about fire. It's about passion. It's about, the urge to make things happen or to do things. So that is, the action oriented approach, right? It's this, reconnecting with existing connections need not have any specific action oriented goal associated with it. It's just more of a connecting and emoting kind of an angle to it. So see that big picture. Now when the reading is done, you look at the spread as a whole, you see you can see the elements and the very interesting connections that are formed here, right? Now, another layer. See how many quote cards are here. 1, 2, 3. And out of a total of 6 cards in the spread, 3 of them are actually quote cards, which means now we have 50% quote cards. Which is so interesting because, as we know, quote cards are people. So which means at least half of it is really down to me as a person. And this section, this half of it here, has 2 quote cards, which means forming new connections and overcoming the hurdles in that process of forming new connections. It's really something that I need to work on, really put myself into it, right? This reconnecting or occasionally reconnecting with the existing connections, that's where, if you see, it's a 1 out of 3 thing. And so I needn't put in a lot of effort, but whatever effort I do put in, it has to be, as a Page of Cups. But here, forming new connections, I will have to put in 2 out of 3, 2/3 of an effort, if you will. And avoiding being very routine, very boring, very humdrum, I have to be a little bit creative, not very restrictive, but open and chill. But I have to go, approach it with very intellectual angle. Do you see that? Do you see how that, do you see that? Do you see that? Do you see that? it's a very interesting thing. Again, as I noticed earlier on, we got 2 kings here and 2 9s here, which is very interesting too. Now let's look at that. Kings talk about, in your quote card hierarchy, page, knight, queen, and king, kings talk about mastery over their element. Kings talk about a control angle over their element. So while and so now, king here, the King of Pentacles is the master of the Pentacles element, or of the regular everyday routine material angle of life. But again, this comes in the hurdle position, so remember, don't forget that context. So it's a hurdle, this kind of mastery. But here here, this is how you're overcoming it. You're not completely the master here because it's a reverse card, right? If you haven't achieved this mastery here in the King of Swords reverse, but it's probably something as a guide, because it's also a guidance type position. It's probably something that they're not recommending. Maybe you don't need to get that mastery so much, because it might be a little bit too much of mastery. You know what I'm saying? Too controlling here. Now 9, very interestingly, 9 is in numerology. 9 is where the cycle sort of ends, and 10 is where it it kind of moves to the next level or the next cycle. So if you see here, existing connections, right, as a hurdle, the 9 is basically saying end this cycle of being so defensive. But here, and overcoming this cycle, it says, completely become confident within yourself. You are an end in yourself, kind of a thing. You can be an end in yourself in terms of being that, that emotional container, so to speak. So be that way. So see how the numbers come through. And because, we have this very interesting commonality showing up here with 2 kings and 2 9s. That's why it's coming into play. 3 again, right? 3 3s are 9. So I although I don't see any connection here with this one and that one, so I'm just not going to go there. But let's say in a different spread, you could see something like that. You could look at the numbers and the connection. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, when you are doing a reading, okay, step 1, look at it as a card by card basis first. All right, spread position within the context of that. Flip it over. What's the first thing that comes to your head? Go with that. Connect the dots, right? Go ahead and do your reading. Once the reading is over, look at the big picture, and that's where you can start to see all the other stuff, all the other layers, right? Open those layers. See what they have to say, right? This, again, as you go through it step by step, this will become a habit. and you'll start doing it even without thinking, or it'll become very natural for you, and you'll just do it. All right. Okay, so this was a very interesting spread, I will say. But I'm gonna now mix this up, and maybe we'll try one more spread. All right. Let's do another spread, cause that's fun. uh okay, the spread that we did earlier, it was just like, every card was an answer position, so we didn't get that flavor in it. So let's do a spread where we get a little bit of flavor with the spread position. Okay, so how about a head, heart, mind, a head, heart, and soul? Yeah, head, heart, and spirit. Head, heart, spirit. Yeah, that's the one. A head, heart, spirit. Uh, Guidance for me about everything to do with connections. Head, heart, and spirit. So guidance for my head, guidance for my heart, and guidance for my spirit. All right. Making a fan. So guidance for my head. So this is something that will be understood pretty logically. Guidance for my heart, feelings based, and spirit is, you will look at it from a very deeper, higher level kind of angle there. All right. So this is again the greater context, or the bigger context here is about connections. So the guidance that I'm seeking is about connections. And so again, remember, when you flip the card over, all right, this is again, now before I'm flipping it over, I'm going to tell you this again. When you flip the card over, there's going to be the knowledge angle and the intuition angle working together in cohesion. That's going to come through for you, right? So your knowledge angle, so that's why sometimes you'll maybe look at a particular color of the card, or you'll focus on a particular symbol within that card. And so you'll kind of just either hone in on that, and then your intuition will also give its own meaning, sensation, or story, or thought, or whatever, keywords, everything jumbled up. It's going to be coming to you at the speed of light or speed of thought, rather. It's just going to happen in a split second. So that is what I'm saying. You have to pay attention to your to what's being told to you in that little split second moment. So whatever you focus on, so this is where your knowledge part comes into play. So if you know what a particular color stands for, you don't waste time trying to figure it out. You already know, okay, this color means this, that color means that, this symbol means this, that symbol means that, this number means this, that number means that, and we all know all the 4 different elements and what they mean, so we go with that. The point is, breaking it down isn't that difficult if you try to look at the process and say, okay, it's just gonna happen for me. All right, let it happen. The more you try to intellectualize everything, it is gonna be tough for you. But more you say, you know what, let it happen. Let me see. Let me hear what my intuition wants to say to me. Pay attention. All right. Your knowledge is, of course, there to fill in the blanks. Right? And your experiences in life and everything that's in your subconscious is, something or the other which is being given back to you through this language of the subconscious. And this tarot card, the imageries within the tarot card are just sparking it. So this is a tool that's going to spark something like that for you. Right? Okay. So, oops, sorry. Hair. So, what was the question we asked? Head, heart, and so head, heart, and spirit. The guidance for the connections that I form in my life. That's the guidance I'm asking. Okay. So, guidance for my head. Ace of Wands reversed. Don't be too enthusiastic while connecting. Okay. See, Ace of Wands, again, see, it's very simple. Ace of Wands, normally upright, is all about that fire, about that passion, about that enthusiasm. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's the energy of the Ace of Wands. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Reversed, the Ace of Wands doesn't have that kind of energy. It's more like a, okay, I know, yeah. So while forming new connections, my cards are saying don't get too extra enthusiastic. Tone it down a bit. Be normal, be calm, be chill. All right? That's all there is to it. And again, see how new connections, or any connections for that matter, it's the ace energy. It's very interesting, right? So when it comes to connections, in my head, I shouldn't get way too excited. Okay, break it down, bring it to a very simple level, if you know, and from there you can take it to a complex level. But at first, try to make it as simple, very childlike, very simple. So Ace of Wands reverse means not too much enthusiasm. Okay, then within the spread position is the head, so not too much enthusiasm in the head, or the mind. And then what is the context of the question? How do I handle the connections in, that are there in that'll appear, or that are there in my life? So don't be too enthusiastic in your head, or don't get too mentally worked up about the connections that are there in your life, or when, as they show up in your life. Just be chill, be calm, be normal. Heart. See how two aces are showing up again. It's okay. We're going to look into that. See the bigger picture when we look at the bigger picture. But with the heart, the cards are saying Ace of Pentacles, and it's with the pentacle holding in his hand there. It is a gift, but this is a practical gift, because pentacles are very practical, and there the path opens up. See, so this is a very practical gift that will open something, path to something new. That is what I honed in. So right in there. So while in my head I should not be too worked up, in my heart I should think of it as a gift that the universe has given to me. Every connection that's there in my life is a gift from the universe, and something new, a new story, a new path, something new will always begin as a result of that connection. Something new, or some new avenue I will discover. So it's a gift from the universe. But again, this is in my heart. I should know that, I should feel that this is a gift. So I should treasure every connection in my life as a gift from the universe. But as previously the card has said, in the head, in my mind, I shouldn't get too worked up or too passionate about it. Spiritually, every connection, Page of Pentacles. This is interesting again. The pentacles, okay, two pentacles there. Now the Page of Pentacles, again, we know is a page is someone who starts out. Look at the way he reverently adores that pentacle, right? And again, we know it's all about the connections. And this is again now in the context of the spiritual angle. So I should adore, or cherish, or revere, or really look, from that very deep spiritual angle. I should look at it as a student, because the Page of Pentacles is also a student starting out. So I should study and respect, and sort of, admire these connections as they show up, and again, the context is a spiritual thing. So from a spiritual perspective, when I look at, or when I when I look at each of these connections, I should look at them as a learning experience, because he's a student, and I should look at them with respect, and I should look at them with admiration, and there's something that I will definitely learn from each and every connection. So I should always be a student, ready to learn the lessons that the spiritual lessons that are coming my way through each connection that I form. All right. So this is a very interesting spread we did. Head, heart, and spirit for, how do I guidance for how do I approach the connections that are there in my life. So summarizing it, from, from a mental perspective, I shouldn't get too worked up, too passionately aggressive about them. I should just be chill about them. And in my heart, I should consider each and every connection as a gift that the universe has given me. And each gift or each connection opens up a new story or a new pathway or a new dimension for me in terms of understanding. And from a spiritual angle, each and every connection that I have received, or that is already there or I will form in my life, I should look at them with honor and with respect and with admiration, because every time that connection is there, I'm learning something from them. As a student, it is a learning journey. It is a journey where I have to get maybe some important lessons. So each and every connection is a important lesson that I have to learn also, right? So this is there. Now let's see the bigger picture. We immediately notice we have, because we have seen that we have two aces, then we have two pentacle cards. Okay. Now, in the journey of the minor arcana, the aces are where the story begins. It's the one. Then you have the two, three, four. So there's always a beginning energy here. In terms of the court cards, the pages are also where it begins. You have the page, then the knight, then the queen, then the king. So there's always there's kind of a new beginning energy at every level here, which is very, very interesting. So something new is there, a new beginning, a new start, a new learning, a new everything. It's a starting point at each level here in the spread, right? Then, so two aces here. So there's energy here, elemental energy for the head and the heart, right? The elements come into play, and the aces are bringing it into like suddenly as the hand jumps out of the cloud with the element there. So the aces are actually just making that happen. But here, the spiritual angle, this is a court card, this is a person card. So this is, and since I'm asking about myself, this is a version of me that needs to come into play. So from the spiritual angle, this has to be a conscious effort on my part to get into this energy space of the page of pentacles, and then understand or look at the situation that this connection is bringing into play. But in terms of the head and the heart, the energy is coming from outside, from around me, and that is what I need to maybe handle as it happens, right? This is what I'm seeing here. All right, see, I'm seeing two aces and I'm seeing two pentacles. So again, pentacles here are all very practical. So the heart and the spiritual matters are actually going to be handled very practically, whereas the head, typically the realm of the swords, but now has to be handled with the fire, with the passionate aspect to it. So it's got to, you got to use your passion to kind of tone down the intellectual angle of this head energy here. So this is how you can basically go a little bit deeper and deeper and deeper as you start to see the bigger picture, the commonalities as they show up, and the differences if at all they show up. So again, it's just basically putting everything together in that one split second. All right, and then you can expand upon it based on your knowledge and your life experiences and the information that your subconscious is throwing at you. Okay, so let me go back to the screen and I'll talk a little bit more about this. Hi guys, I'm back. So I guess this is going to turn out to be a bit of a long-ish video. I'm not known for short videos, I guess. But so as you saw in the example readings that we did, I mean, I'm genuinely tried my best. I hope that it made sense, that you could connect. I would really, really genuinely want to hear from you if what I talked about, what I showed in the spread, what the images that I've put up on screen, whether they made sense to you, whether this process that I have talked about, that the breakdown, so such as it is that I did, whether it made sense, whether you could understand how I'm putting it together in my head, right? Just like, let me do live just one card, right? I'm just randomly here's my deck. Right, just like in slow motion, if I have to say, let's say I'm pulling one card for what guidance do I need right now. All right, the top card, it's the High Priestess. All right, so the High Priestess, all right, the what happens here is, and as soon as I see this, the High Priestess is telling me to just be relaxed, be chill. All right, don't worry, you're doing fine. That's the feeling, that's what the High Priestess card sort of said to me in that moment. What guidance do I need right now? So how did that happen? It happened precisely, first thing first, knowledge, right? Because let's say for all of these years I have studied, I've read upon the High Priestess, I've meditated with the High Priestess, I've spent a lot of time with her. She's amazing, right? So the point is, study is important just as much as your intuition is important. I placed equal emphasis on both, right? So because I have studied, I know this card has probably 50,000 meanings. All right, just putting a random number out there. This card has a whole bunch of meanings. But the first thing that this card, the High Priestess card, talks to me is knowledge. All right. And the second thing, she's always so calm, so at peace. Like the whole world could be going to pieces, but this woman is just gonna sit there, chill. She's the epitome of chill, right? She's so calm. So because right now, the first thing that was on my mind when I was framing that question or asking that question is, oh my God, am I even making sense to my viewers as I'm recording this video? And so right away, the High Priestess comes and says, be chill. Your knowledge is good. All right. You see, this is the thing. This is what comes from the knowledge part. Intuitively also. All right, intuitively, this is what happens. The High Priestess has evoked, as time has gone by, she brings to mind the memory of a very calm place, of a very serene moment in my life. And so a more, like, or actually it's a moment where I was meditating on this High Priestess. I was doing the entry in the tarot card meditation, and I had this moment that there was just so much peace. It was like suddenly I didn't have anything to worry, and life was all peaceful, right? So every time I see her, it's not that that moment gets evoked because there was other stuff happening in that meditation, but this time I intuitively, it was that memory that showed up in that mind or heart space, that calmness, and then stay chill that comes from the knowledge and the calm, and all of that. So my conscious mind threw up stuff at me that came from my knowledge base, from what I'd studied. My subconscious mind threw up a feeling at me from a memory which was related to the High Priestess card. And then I put that within the context of the question or that we have asked and the spread position. So the question we asked was, what do I need to know right now? And at that moment I was talking about whether I'm making sense, right? So that I needed, like, right now, right here, right now guidance, and boom, the high priestess shows up and says, you're good, stay chill, right? So I mean, that's, hopefully I have been also again able to break down that process and see, this is again, remember, because the question was also all about, elements and uh, colors and all of that. See, that is part of the knowledge angle, right? Because when you look at the things, you say, oh, blue is a calm color, on, you see, water body, this is subconscious, and the two pillars, oh, the balance between the opposite sides, or opposing forces, and then the moon phase crown, and all of that. See, this card is a holy bunch of, a lot of symbolism in this card, right? It's That's a whole nother video. But what I'm trying to say is that information is part of the knowledge circle of things. That's all in my conscious mind. That's because it will always be in my conscious mind, but it's also incorporated in my subconscious. And from there, something related to this card, a memory, that is what sparks in the intuition. Then we look in the context of the question. That's how it goes. So all of this, again, because I'm breaking it down, it might seem like, oh my God, there's so many things that are happening. Actually, no, it's a split second thing. All right. And the only way, okay, that I know of, that you will achieve this is through practice. Just practice. So you can do a card a day reading, or if like, or just like how I did, like, I need guidance right now, and just pull a card. What does it say? In that split second. Do not overthink it. Okay, the biggest problem I face when I see people come up to me with questions is sometimes people overthink it. They're like, oh, this card has all these 20,000 meanings. No, do not overthink it. What was your first impression? Go with that. Always go with that, because that is always right. Okay, I know it sounds far-fetched and out there and woo-woo and whatever, but actually it makes a lot of logical sense also if you go to think about it, because that is your intuition talking to you. And for that, you need to listen to your intuition. So it's, again, I'm going to be, I guess, repeating the same points over and over again, probably because that's how it works for me. But if you want to use this as a starting point for discovering your process, by all means, go for it. You will want to tweak it ultimately. I hope that you will want to tweak your process, some way or the other. By all means, do that. All right. Don't feel restricted in this process. This is not an 8 of Swords situation where you're stuck following this process. No, it's not. You are free. All right, you're free to create your own angles and twists and turns to this journey. But the point is, to achieve this, practice, practice, practice. It's only practice. And for that, you can journal, you can do a reading every day. I'm not saying that, if understand that if you're going to be doing this for practice, you can ask ridiculous questions to the cards as well. Simple questions, or you can do everyday questions to the cards as well. You can throw whatever you want to add them. They will answer you, but you have to pay attention. That's how you're going to practice. Okay? Practice, practice, practice. And that's how you're going to get better. And you will get better. I know this. Okay? Let's ask the cards. I'm putting the High Priestess back in there and shuffling. Now I'm going to ask the cards. What will happen if you practice this method? You, the viewer, what will happen if you practice this method? and keep practicing, and if your reading skills, what will happen? Oops, there was a jumper. 6 of Cups. It's always all about the memories, right? Your memories are going to be a big source of information from your subconscious. So again, we are asking the cards, what will happen if you keep practicing? What will happen to your reading skills? What will happen to your reading skills as you keep practicing? And the card is 2 of Cups. Dun, dun, dun. See, the cards don't lie. You will reconnect. See, now this is the thing. 2 of Cups is boy meets girl or girl meets boy. It's a card basically of connection. But in this card, you don't just always see the cups. You are also seeing the caduceus, which is about healing, and this lion, which represents the fire or fiery, passionate energy of Leo. So this is a card where not just feelings, but also passions are uniting, and they're creating a healing between themselves. So this, again, the male and the female doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to meet someone from the opposite sex. Rather, what I feel is that you're meeting your inner self. All right. So as you keep practicing, you will connect and reconnect with your inner self, right? And you will have an emotional bond with your inner self, and that emotional bond will also reignite a passion for whatever it is that you're doing, and that will create a sense of healing. All of it will basically, it will heal you from inside. Oops. It will heal you from inside as you also improve your skills. So you will actually connect maybe with your inner self, your intuition. You will learn to listen. You will really, really genuinely listen to your inner voice, right? As you start listening to your inner voice, you will form a deep, deep, deep emotional bond with your inner self, which will ignite more passion for maybe tarot, or your inner journey and all of that, which will heal, and it will heal your connection with your inner self. Oh, the cards don't lie, baby. Go for it. So like I said, keep practicing. Practice is the key to getting better here. And believe me, there is no secret to this method except practice. And to fuel this practice, you need to learn, you need to study, you need to read more books, and try out new techniques, and just be adventurous, right? Because it all kind of comes together. The more you live your life on the outside is the more you're colorful your inner life also begins. So don't keep it all restricted. Just explore life and have the adventure. And as time will go by, you will enrich yourself. And with that knowledge and wisdom, you will also enrich others that come to you for a reading. Wow, that was deep. Okay, so I hope this video has helped. If there was anything, any specific part that was not clear, or that you found very difficult to understand, or you need more explanation about, feel free to write that in the comments. Tell me specifically what you want to know. I will endeavor to make a much more deeper video, hopefully, or if it's possible, whatever I can do, I will endeavor to do that. Because obviously I want more and more people to come and learn cards. And hey, if you want to learn from me, I also teach. All right, I also teach tarot card reading. And whatever your goal is, you want to become a professional reader, or you want to just learn to read for yourself, whatever your goal is, don't worry, I'll get you going. All right, I've done that for many years now. I keep doing that, and I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm pretty good at it. Yeah, I did toot my own horn, didn't I? Anyway, the point is, if you want to learn, I can also teach you. We can have personalized or Skype sessions, or in person. If you are close by, you can always drop in and we can talk about it. Anyway, the point is, there's many ways. If you want to learn, I can teach you. um if you want to do a reading for yourself, I can totally do a reading for you. All those links are there in the description box below. And so if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and let me know that you liked it. All right, if you have not subscribed to my channel, by all means do click the subscribe button and subscribe to my channel. I like it when you subscribe to my channel. It makes me feel so good. And I believe there's a bell icon. Once you click the subscribe button, you should see a little bell there. If you click on that, that way you'll get an email, or you'll get a notification on your phone screen or something every time I upload a new video, so you'll always be up to date. Yeah, so you can totally follow me on Facebook, on Twitter, and Instagram. I post my card a day readings on there. So if that's something that you like to do, you can totally do that. Mm, I guess that's pretty much summing everything up. Thank you. Thank you so much. If you watched till this end of this video, I really genuinely heartily thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching this video. I genuinely do appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And I will see you again in my next video. Until then, stay good, be good, and play with your cards. Bye now.